Hi everybody, welcome to this week's adult story time. This week's just going to be a quick one with one of my favorite books that was published in recent years, and I kind of enjoy a sad picture book every so often. I know I've done funny books the last 5 adult story times, but I thought I would throw in like a nostalgic, quiet, sad book because sometimes that's just what you need. So, the book that we're reading is A House That Once Was, written by Julie Fogliano and illustrated by Lane Smith. And I really like to look at the copyright page of picture books to see what materials were used in creating the artwork. So I'm just going to read that because I think it's really cool to know. The illustrations in this book were done in 2 different techniques. The present day illustrations were made with India ink drawn on vellum with a crow quill pen, then pressed while wet onto watercolor paper, creating a blotted line effect. The colors were painted in oil over gesso, then scanned and added digitally under the ink line. The imagined scenes were painted in oil paint on hot press board and scanned along with paper collage elements that were combined digitally. How cool is that? Okay. Because, look at the blotted illustrations in this. It's really cool. Okay. So this is A House That Once Was. Deep in the woods is a house. Just a house that once was, but now isn't a home. At the top of a hill sits the house that is leaning, a house that once wasn't, but now it is peeling. A house that was once painted blue. Tiptoe creep up the path that is hiding, a path that once welcomed, a path that is winding, a path that's now covered in weeds. At the front of the house that is waiting, there is a door that is not really open, but barely. A door that is closed, but not quite. A door that is stuck between coming and going. A door that was once painted white. Off to the side, there's a window that's watching. A window that once opened wide. A window that now has no window at all. A window that says, "Climb inside." Inside the house, it is silent but creaking. We're whispering, mostly, but not really speaking. We whisper though no one would mind if we didn't. The someone who once was is someone who isn't. The someone who once was is gone. Who was this someone who ate beans for dinner, who sat by this fire, who looked in this mirror? Who was this someone whose books have been waiting, whose bed is still made, whose pictures are fading? Who was this someone who walked down this hallway, who cooked in this kitchen, who napped in this chair? Who was this someone who left without packing? Someone who's gone, but is still everywhere. Was it a man with a big beard and glasses who looked out the window and dreamed of the sea? Or a woman who painted all day in the garden, portraits of squirrels while sipping iced tea? Was there a cat who would sleep by the fire? Or a girl who would twirl to her records and sing? A boy who built planes and dreamt nightly of flying? A baby, a cowboy, a queen, or a king? Why did they leave here, and where were they going? Did they run off and not say goodbye? Were they shipwrecked and now live on an island wearing coconut clothes with a pineapple tie? Or maybe they took off and headed to Paris, where they paint by the river and eat lots of cheese. Or what if they're lost and they're wandering, lonely? Maybe they can't find their set of house keys. And maybe the house is still waiting there for them, waiting to hear their key turn in the door, waiting for voices to bounce down the hallway, waiting for someone to come sweep the floor. Or maybe it loves to just sit and remember stories of someone who we'll never know, and maybe it likes it out there in the forest with the trees coming in where the roof used to go. So back through the window we climb as we wonder, back down the path that is tangled with thorns. Back to a house where our dinner is waiting, back to a home that is cozy and warm. We took the bean can and some weeds and brought it back to their home. Deep in the woods is a house. Just a house that once was, but now isn't a home. And that's the end of the book. I love a quiet picture book. Kate DiCamillo wrote this really great essay. She wrote Because of Winn-Dixie and Flora and Ulysses and The Tale of Despero. She wrote this really great essay a few years ago about how we need sad children's books, especially picture books. Because sometimes kids are overwhelmed with feelings. Sometimes adults are overwhelmed with feelings. I cried the first time I read this. And sometimes you just need it. Sometimes you just need a book that fills you with something. And sometimes that's a little bit of sadness twinged with hope. Sometimes it's just plain sadness. Sometimes it's nostalgia. Sometimes it's everything. Because there's so many mixed emotions. So I think that's what this book does for me. I hope it brought you some comfort or some, maybe some like cathartic sadness if you need that right now. It's a really great book and I highly recommend it. And I hope you tune in to next adult story time. I can't promise it's going to be funny. It might. It probably will be. I love funny books. So this might just be the one sad book we read. Who knows? I hope to see you next time. Bye.